Hello everybody, and welcome to this set of interviews that we are going to be doing in this great event of TestingUy 2024, the 10th edition of the conference. And well, perdón, esto es en inglés. We're going to be saying a few words in Spanish here and there, but for things to flow, it's going to be in English. So I hope everyone is ready, and I hope we will have time for subtitles. I don't know, let's see what we can do afterwards. But today, in this special opening interview for the day, I have our amiga, Dona Sarkar. Mm-hmm. I knew I was going to miss it. Welcome, Dona. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. And thank you for doing this episode in English for me, because mi español, no good. No bueno. No bueno.
Poquito.
Sí.
It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here. It's something that, as I kept learning about your trajectory, and for the record, we were enjoying a little bit earlier some milanesas and some nice talk where we were exchanging some experiences, and for me personally, learning about your trajectory, all that you have been doing. And before we get rolling with everything, would you mind sharing with the audience about yourself? What do you do? And why are you the almighty keynote speaker this time?
Okay. So first of all, such an honor to be here for TestingUy's 10th year anniversary, which is a huge deal for conferences, right? We've attended a lot of conferences. To be able to survive 10 years, survive and thrive, especially after the pandemic, come back stronger, better than ever, brand new venue, whole new format, it's a really big deal. Yeah. So it's such an honor to be here. What I do for a living is I cause trouble. I am the chief troublemaker for AI and Copilot's Extensibility at Microsoft. So what that means is, we've all heard of this AI thing, right? Microsoft's take on AI is called a Copilot. And the intention is that Copilot is your Copilot. It doesn't do things without you. It does things when it's summoned by you to help you at your work. Now, we have a lot of them. We have a lot of Copilots. We have 97 of them, actually. And a lot of people don't quite know how to use Copilots on their own data in their own business. And my team's job and my job is to go around and help individuals, companies, business, organizations, schools learn how to use Microsoft products on their own data so they can solve these business problems that have been around for decades and decades and decades, and they're not getting any easier. So that is kind of my overall umbrella work. Within it, of course, there's, every day is a little bit different. Every day is a little bit weirder. But in the era of AI, when things are changing hourly, it's such an exciting time to be doing this.
This is, as you say, very exciting times. And all the AI revolution, everything that is happening, myself, super guilty. I'm probably using or abusing all these capabilities that AI gives us. But I am curious, before we dive into, because you are Copilot troublemaker, this role, how do you get there? What was pretty much your trajectory to get to today doing this? What was the line?
So I have to say it's pretty boring. A lot of people have very non-traditional, cool journeys. Mine is extremely traditional, very basic. I studied computer science in the US in a place called University of Michigan. And I studied machine learning back in college. I was quite terrible at it because machine learning used to be boring.
On those days.
Very boring. Used to tag images back and forth. It took a very long time, very tedious. Of course, now it's a little tedious, not as tedious as it used to be. So I studied computer science. I've been working in tech full-time since 2002. And my entire career has been in software development. So I've done software development of projects that some of you might have heard of, like many versions of Windows, Vista, Win 7, Win 8, Win 8.1, and then a version that ran on your head called HoloLens, mixed reality. So that was my big development journey. And then while I was working on HoloLens, I was asked to take on not just developer platform work, but developer evangelism. Go teach people in the world how to use this. And I absolutely fell in love with this work. I thought, how cool is it to go build a product, but then teach people in the world how to use it for their own businesses? So my evangelism and advocacy work has always been around business. How can we take enterprise software and make it relevant for people who work in companies? So that's been my trajectory. Since then, I've worked on I think, some of the coolest projects in the world. HoloLens was very cool. The next one was a thing called the Power Platform, which is a low-code development platform. So it's for people from non-traditional backgrounds, people who are not developers by nature, who might be from HR, legal, or finance operations, but they still have tech problems that they need to solve. And then I did a lot of work with accessibility, making sure that products are inclusively designed for people from all over the world, from all different backgrounds and disabilities and abilities. And over the last year and a half, I've been fully immersed in the AI-verse, because there's never been a piece of technology in my lifetime that empowers and enables more people to do things that wouldn't have been possible before.
Yeah, and I'm happy to learn that you were involved in the power tools and all this side, and to give you like a thumbs up of what you were doing, my brother, who is administrator, management, he started to get into that, and suddenly comes to me like, hey, I built a web application where my employees can check this, check that. I'm like, what? Yeah, this power thing is very cool. I'm like, okay, so I blame you a little bit for that, but thank you, my brother would say. And on the other side, all the Copilot differences and all this revolution that is happening. I'm short of words with revolution, but I think the impact that is coming, I'm curious in terms of those impacts. What was your reaction when you were introduced to this new thing? Because you mentioned we have now like how many flavors of Copilot?
97. Yeah.
97. But there was a first Copilot.
Yes, that's right.
Were you in that initial just Copilot, or when you started playing, there were already like?
So I started a long time ago, actually. The Copilots were really debuted about a year ago, last February, 2023. But we've been using the GPT models within Microsoft for 4 or 5 years at this point. They actually showed up in the Power Platform years ago, I think 2021 era. They were doing very specific things, but they were underlying. They were more in the background. They were in Power BI, they were in Power Apps back in the day. And of course, they've been fueling GitHub for a long time. Code completion, inline code completion. That's been a part of GitHub since the preview. It's been years at this point. So one of the things that Copilot really put into the spotlight was it stopped being just a kind of low-key part of products and started being the front and center of products. So the first product we launched was called Microsoft Copilot, which is, copilot.microsoft.com. There's like a Super Bowl ad for it and all of these things. And it really is an enterprise-friendly chat bot that helps you do things. Job-related, right? Make me an enterprise scaling program for my business. Put it into a table. Now figure out like the cost of getting this done. What about if we outsource these parts and do these parts internally? So it really helps you run like a life and a business, all from this enterprise protected shell that a lot of people really benefit from, because there's a lot of talk about like model training and data security, et cetera, et cetera. So I was a part of that from when we first started working on it. And I truly, though, realized the power of Copilot when I started losing feeling in this hand just because of carpal tunnel. And, just like
IT people,
Yeah, IT people. So it was like carpal tunnel and arthritis and like bad posture, right? And I had to make a lot of slide decks, a lot of slide decks. And making slide decks from scratch started to become very painful for me.
Literally.
Yeah, very painful. So when PowerPoint introduced a Copilot, it was very interesting to me when I could just dictate into it 5 things. Make me 5 slides, strategy document over HR skill or AI skilling program for this kind of company, talk about stakeholders, cost, et cetera, et cetera. And I would generate a PowerPoint without doing anything else other than being able to dictate these 5 lines. Then I realized, okay, we're onto something. This is something special. Because before this would have taken me a very long time, or I would have to call someone for help, etc. And now I was able to do something that was accessible to people, but also made my life so much easier. So for me, that was the big switch. That was the big turning point. I went from, oh, this is kind of a cool toy, to wow, this can really transform business, right?
How was the curve after that discovery for you to start using all the Copilot features? Because I have my experiences, which have been drastic. How much have you increased, or I'm guessing it exploded for you?
Well, I think it depends, because when you look at your job, it's kind of the same every day, right? Every day is different, but your job functions are very similar. You're going to do the same 10 things over and over and over and over again. You're going to probably attend meetings. You're probably going to write stuff like you're going to respond to email. You're probably going to write documents for something, technical documents or strategy documents. You're probably going to make PowerPoints, and you're probably going to do something with data. Look at data, analyze it, make decisions, etc. And that's just the admin part of a job. Then there's the actual developer creative side, which would be writing code, making power apps, et cetera, et cetera. So my job really did fall into, I do these tasks on rotation over and over again. And I started getting very familiar with the AI tools for these products that I use over and over. And some of them have been quite life-changing. Like, honestly, the Teams Copilot, the one that recaps meetings, especially when I'm not in them. Yeah, that one. Like right now, I'm supposed to be in a work meeting and I'm not. We're kind of luxuriously hanging out here. But Teams is attending for me, and I'll get a beautiful recap of what happened in this meeting, right? That has changed my productivity game completely. Because now I can get a recap. No, I don't need to go rewatch this entire meeting recording unless that recap has something very specific for Donna, right? And it gives you the timestamp. I'm like, cool, go to minute 36 and see what someone needed from me. So for me, I will never give this Copilot back. Right? This is a Copilot where I will pay for it myself out of pocket for the rest of my life, because it has saved me how many hours a day? Like 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day? It's a ridiculous number of hours a day that I can save. The other ones that I found very useful is, of course, GitHub Copilot for any sort of development work, because you just plan the work and then the first stub code shows up, which is amazing. And then using it to generate test cases has been, I think, a game changer, because especially for test cases you might not be super familiar with, like name me 10 perf tests for this, or 10 accessibility tests, or 10 tests for, load testing or something like this. And then the next part, which is run the test cases across this code and then fix the bugs. And I'm thinking, like, is this cheating? A little bit. I don't hate it though. I don't hate that for us. So it's these kinds of things where I have just done it for so long, having this assistant to help me in doing the activities that I know how to do in my sleep, but I just do not have time to do them.
It's and you're saying some keywords here: assistant, helping, improving. Where I know, and especially for the people watching, the fear of, am I going to be replaced? And I don't see you being replaced, or quite the opposite. You get time back, or you are more efficient, and you can do so many more things, or you're out of pain, not moving on the PowerPoints and generating all the slides, which I think it's huge what you are mentioning, because in the testing community, the people watching us, there's this, well, not only the testing, I think all over the world,
all communities.
Everyone is like, ooh, AI is going to leave me out of work. Are you worried?
No, I'm not worried. Just benchmarking that right now, I'm not worried. There are jobs that will disappear, but there's jobs that have disappeared anyway, right? My first job, and I'm not kidding, used to be, we were talking about discs, right? Installing stuff with discs. My very first internship was going around Ford Motor Company with discs of Windows 95 and upgrading people. And it took 2 discs and everyone would yell at you. Each one took like hours. And while you're upgrading them, they're saying, why are you installing this? I don't want this. I don't like change. Make it go away. Discs had to go around and install on thousands of people's machines. Okay, 10 years later, I'm installing Windows with like a push of a button in some Azure service to 1.3 billion people, right? I'm still installing Windows. The how has changed, right?
And the outcome?
The outcome has changed, right? People are still kind of mad, but they're not as mad. They're not as mad to me. But yeah, that job went away. If I define my job as upgrading Windows with a disk to 1,000 people in person, that's not a good job anymore in 2024. That would be a terrible job in 2024. People would mutiny. And so I ask people to say, do you really want the same job you had 5 years ago? And the answer is probably not. So AI is going to help evolve jobs just like everything has. The cloud, mobile, time, impatience, expectation. These have all helped evolve jobs. AI is yet another thing that will help evolve jobs. But for testing specifically, there's a whole new category of jobs that I hope testers are aware of, because there is a lot of money on the table, okay? So I talk a lot about, there's two main kinds of new AI roles that are going to show up. There's, of course, all of the roles that already exist, like software developer, etc. It's like software developer with AI, product manager with AI, data scientist with AI. You like AI-fy these jobs, use the new tools, fine. But AI operator is a whole new category of job. Yeah. Think of it like a software architect, but super powered.
On steroids.
Right, exactly. So now as a software architect, you're going to be kind of an architect of which AI systems are you using in your company? What are the problems you're trying to solve? Which of these systems should be solving which problem? So it really does take like a much more strategic mindset, right? So say we were going to build a company that, I don't know, track like the carbon emissions of a set of factories in an office park. We would say, okay, what are some things we need to think about? And we would say, let's use this AI product to plan the work. Let's use this one to generate test cases, or to generate code. Let's use this one to generate test cases, this one to drive project management, this one to make a presentation, this one to do this one to do that. So that kind of AI architect operator role will be really important. Mm-hmm. It's like being a manager of systems and tools. So this is really good for anyone who's good at like admin, organization, architecture, that sort of work. These jobs already exist. If you've ever had to manage a fleet of devices and organize what day do we take security patches and what day do we update things, you've already done this kind of work. So that's one. The second job is called a red teamer. So here's a funny, funky new title we stole from security, right? But a red teamer means, is your AI doing what it's supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. Do you have weird biases, AI? Yes, AI has weird biases.
Always.
Does it actually solve the problem that you're trying to solve set by the operator, right, in step one? And then, is it deployed to the right people? Because not everyone needs everything. Not every person at a company needs GitHub Copilot, really. That's more of a tester and dev product. And then, do people know how to use it? The do people know how to use it, that kind of user enablement, adoption driver, teacher sort of role will become so important. Mm-hmm. Because we tech people all assume everyone is going to know how to use AI for their job. And spoiler alert, you and I know this. No one knows how to use it for their work. Yeah. No one. And for the rest of our lives, if you're watching this, your job is going to be AI trainer. I'm sorry, but that is going to be part of your job. It's like how you need to fix everyone's printers right now. You're going to be having to fix everyone's AI experience for the rest of your life. So no, I'm not worried at all about jobs going away. I'm worried we're all going to have too much work for the rest of our careers.
It's gonna be interesting because this switch that you mentioned on one hand, Copilot, the original for code with GitHub and all that. Yeah. I remember developer-wise, one of the biggest headaches, find that freaking semicolon that is somewhere over there messing up. Okay, Copilot, boom, there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Generally, this takes me 30 minutes, 1 hour on figure out what is happening.
Forgot a bracket somewhere. Yeah.
And the same applies to other jobs. That is improved infinite times. Like as you say, it frees me up several hours. But at the same time, this is something that applies on so many other areas that you can use to your work, your general or testing, as you very well mentioned. Right. Suggest me a few test types for, I don't know, functional, negative testing, performance. Let's do this and that. I don't think the AI is yet at the point that it's going to make everything for you. No. But you still have to ask the questions. And in this input and this babysitting or trainer of AI, I think there are still levels because I consider myself someone used to making prompts, asking this type of questions. I know people that know less than that, as you say. Yeah, we all it's given that, don't you know Microsoft Word, Excel or something? Yeah. There's people that does not.
They do not.
And have no idea. And it scandalizes us IT people. But we gotta wrap our heads around that people will be like that with AI. And still, I think of myself a very proficient Word or Excel user. But there are some other people like, pivot table in Excel, what? Multi-macros, blah, blah, blah. Which, okay, you have another level. It's the same with prompts, with AI. And I know some people that, you put this parameter, this, and you can ask AI with parameters and put like these tags and things that when you know that and you exploit all that, your powers, your employability, I think, as you say, it's gonna be
It skyrockets. Yeah.
impressive. What would you recommend for the people watching that are afraid that this will overcome them and they are gonna become the dinosaurs of how to keep up, how to get on track with these things that, hey, I wanna be a pro AI engineer, tester.
Yeah, I think the main thing is the media is very confusing. It's very confusing because every day there's some new news, like, oh, Uta or Alta or whatever the sound thing came out yesterday and it generates any music you want in the world. Does that affect you? Maybe if you're a sound engineer, but for me, a normal person on the street who does software development for operating systems, not really. It doesn't really affect me so much. If I was still working on HoloLens, making like 3D fully immersive apps, yeah, interesting. Not as much for everyone else. Same thing with, oh, you can generate 3D videos 1 minute ones on the fly. That's cool. Do I need to become an expert of that tomorrow? Not really. Not really my business, unless I really want to pursue it on the side. What I recommend people do is really narrow their scope more. Don't learn more about AI, learn less, but learn deeper. And what I'm seeing a lot of people do is they're learning a little bit about every single tool on the planet, but they're not mastering any tool specifically because they're not mastering a use case. So the best thing you can do is identify a use case for yourself, not 12 use cases. Figure out one that is annoying for you and say, like, what is a thing that I wind up having to do a lot that I don't really, it doesn't bring me a lot of joy to do, and I could use AI's help on. Like for me, very much, it is writing technical documentation from code. I am bad at it. I'm very bad at it. I'm bad at saying, like, here's code.
Doesn't everyone?
Some people are amazing. Some people are amazing.
Few.
Like, I recorded a video tutorial. Now I need to write those steps down. And I'm like, no, I don't want to write the steps down. You know what? This is a job for AI. Upload the video and say, generate me 10 steps from the tutorial that I gave you. It can do that, right? Microsoft Copilot can do that. If you point to a video, it can tell you 10 high points in the video. That's a pretty good start. First, Donna shows this, then she does that. Gives you something to start with, right? So it really is identify a use case that is repetitive, kind of annoying, you don't love doing it, get AI to help you, and make a list of what it's good at and what it's not good at, because then you know, right? Then you're suddenly someone who's using it to do your job probably easier, hopefully. And once you get good at it and you get familiar with the tools, you start building confidence, then add another use case and say, okay, I'm gonna now use it to write documents from scratch. Okay, cool, that's my other case. Or I'm gonna use it to learn a new programming languages from an existing programming language. And honestly, that was my big use case last year, because I had to learn Python to do AI, and I hate Python, okay? I'm a C++ dev. Python is like the other side of the planet. I'm like, Python's a snake. It is not a language. So I wound up doing this strange rigmarole and saying, like, okay, C++ I can deal with. I like C++, I can deal with Java or JavaScript. Can I translate all my JavaScript into Python? And I did. That was what I was spending so much time doing, was translating JavaScript to Python.
But manually?
No, in GitHub Copilot.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do anything manually. And then also all these code samples you get from these AI projects that are all in Python. Like, I'm not reading in Python. So I would just translate it using GitHub Copilot into JavaScript and use those. So for me, that became a major use case for AI. And I teach people that all the time. And people love this. They're like, oh, this is awesome, because I just need to know one programming language. And suddenly I can translate all code into that. It doesn't work all the time. But when it works, it's pretty cool.
It's amazing, and the power that you leverage. It's a lever. AI is a big tool.
Yeah.
Huge. Get deeper. I love your reference a little bit like the T-shape type of engineer tester that we gotta be. You have I understand a bit of everything, but have the T like as deep as possible. If you can even an E, that 3 deep, but that you understand very well. Does this align with your keynote? Does this, can you give no spoilers, but just tastes?
I'm actually talking tomorrow about how most of the AI verse is testing. So whenever people say, oh, software testing dead, I've been hearing software testing dead, I think my whole career. I've had it as a job, I've had it as part of a job, I've had it as not a job. We're all software testers, everyone. Anyone who gets like a new device, installs an app, sees what the app does, Guess what we're doing? Software testing. Just getting this whole setup going so we could record, we're testing. So most of the AI-verse is testing. Because as you're going to build a model, you're looking at each data source and saying, is this a good data source or a bad data source to have in my model? Once the model is built, you're saying, you ask a question, is this a good answer or a bad answer? That's testing. This is testing right here. And then you go build a product with it, and then you use it again, and you say, am I getting the right result? Yes or no? This is software testing again. And it's got all these funky names. Training a model, reinforcement learning, human feedback, red teaming. These are all machine learning words for testing. So much of the AI versus testing, and people who have the tester's mindset, have that curious, inquisitive, I wonder if this will break the thing mindset, are going to do so well in the AI verse, so well, because you're seeing the main issues people are having are that, oh, this AI did not do what I needed it to do, didn't do what I expected. That is what testers have been finding for 1,000,000 years, right? Mm-hmm. This thing was written to do X, it is not doing X. Why? Let's go figure out why, diagnose, debug, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the AI-verse is a big, ginormous testing activity, and I want everyone to realize how much power they have right now.
I think this is very encouraging, especially for, again, I have the feeling that in the testing realm, there's this concern, AI is going to leave me out of work, blah, blah, blah. It's going to multiply it.
Oh, yeah.
We won't be enough testers. And I kind of already think that there are not enough testers anyway, when all these things come up. Because it's a tool, again, programming languages, desktop application, blah, 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 are tools which are not replacing us, haven't replaced us ever, and won't. And I just will give a bit in a moment why. But as well, we have to test the tools. And that's a tester's mindset, capabilities. If anyone knows how to make an application or some program software, it's us. And we know what are the routes that we have to check. We may learn a new ones. As you say, AI brings some new things. But there's going to be so much. Don't worry. Because when you were asking some of these, mentioning these things, the prompts, hey, ChatGPT, can you give me a negative test that goes around some of the check for query injections, blah, blah, blah. Just building the prompts correctly, negative tests, query injections, things that, no regular average Joe will know how to ask these questions. And if you don't do the right input, garbage in, garbage out.
Absolutely.
And that happens with AI.
Absolutely.
It's not there yet reading our minds.
No, it's a tool for experts. Really. It's a tool for people who know what the right answer is. And that's why I tell everyone, learn a thing you already know how to do. Don't go use AI to learn a thing you have no idea if it's good or bad. Do a thing you're like, this is a good answer. Or actually give me 10 more answers, etc. And that's where you learn to really use the tools and understand its power before you go start using it to do things that you have no clue about, right? And it helps build confidence as well.
No, and so even some questions that you may have some trouble, like, oh, what points would be good, can guide you. AI won't solve your problems, but will give an approach in advance.
You get like thought partnering, which is helpful.
Yeah. And it reminds me a little bit like this pair programming with Extreme XP and all those things where I'm like, AI, what this? Oh, I don't copy paste. Try to never do that. I won't say I've never done. But it's like, I haven't thought about that. Okay, I don't need you for now. Let me do my real person work. But this already boosted a lot of what I started doing. That the revolution is not coming, it's here. We better start using it. And I'm really happy that you are also helping to promote and break these barriers, these fears, and everything that I hope your keynote makes testers at ease a little bit with these things. They better be. And
you know, it's funny because I did a job search, Latin American job searches with AI in the title. And testers can do all of these.
Yeah.
You can do all of these. I'm looking at the jobs and laughing because I'm thinking like, they have fancy new titles, but they're all jobs you can do. And it's really important that tester people do not imposter syndrome themselves out of it. Because they can't say like, oh, I don't have a machine learning background. Do you know how many people have machine learning background? Not many.
True.
It was not the new hotness until last year, right? For a long time, machine learning people were stuck working in some lab somewhere. So this is not a background. Anytime someone's like, oh, we need 20 years machine learning. I said, you're not going to get them. You're not going to get them. Those people have jobs. You think they don't have jobs? They're not applying to your company. There's arms race for people with this skill set. So instead, we're all going to have to learn machine learning to be able to do these jobs. And I tell everybody, it's growth mindset time, people, right? It's time to put aside, I don't do that, and say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn it this year, because this is going to keep me not just employed, but employed doing the things that I really want to be doing for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And I'm seeing so many job postings out there for this red teamer, AI validator sort of jobs. Non-tech companies paying lots of money, saying like, this was in the US, I saw it, but native English speaker, no experience needed. Validate the AI is giving the right answer. What a funny job. But I've seen 4 of them just in the last few weeks.
Yeah, no, several. And as you very well said, all these job positions with testing background, mixing up our abilities only potentiates what we can do. And being a little bit mindful of time, thank you. I want to, all these recommendations, all these insights that you brought, I look forward to all this learning around AI, and I don't know how much more my work will improve. It's huge, but just for the people who want to follow up what you are doing, where are you going next, where people can find you?
Probably the best place is, sadly, on Twitter at Dona Sarkar, and probably on LinkedIn at Dona Sarkar. I stay fairly up to date. I keep these places up to date because things are moving so fast. And every week I learn, oh, I'm supposed to be in a new city saying words about AI to this new industry, because everyone is, like you're saying, the revolution is here. And this is the first time, honestly, in my career, everyone is getting on board with a new technology at the same time.
It's like it landed, but many other revolutions just see it coming. Like, whoa, it's already here.
Yeah.
Oh, I better catch up. Everyone is in that.
Everyone's in it because there was so much consumer awareness with ChatGPT. Usually we try to push a tough tech revolution and it doesn't affect consumers, so no one really cares. They're like, oh, cloud, whatever, I don't care. Oh, data security, doesn't matter, it doesn't affect me. Like, companies didn't start building mobile apps until consumers demanded it, right? We were still building apps on to run on computer screens until consumers are like, we have these shiny new iPhone, Android phones. How come your bank doesn't have an app thing on here? Banks are like, oh no, we better build an app thing on there. That's what drove it, right? Consumer demand. And suddenly you've got markets and markets and markets over companies who build apps for banks, right? They created the market. And the same thing's happening with AI because so many consumers use ChatGPT for stuff. They're saying, wait, how come my work product doesn't have like a ChatGPT thing in it? So now every company is rushing and saying, yeah, we need that, something with enterprise guardrails and protections so people can use it at work. So consumer behavior driving hardcore tech innovation and adoption. But it works every time. It happens once every 2 decades. And this one, we're around for.
Yeah. Just closing thoughts. And you mentioned that there are many other companies, many organizations implementing AI, growing. And you mentioned that we have 90-something copilots at the moment. Are there more coming for the next 6 months? Can you spoil a little bit more? I'm guessing that we're gonna...
You're gonna see a lot of copilots for specific activities. Like, for example, we recently released a copilot for financial analysts, copilot for service people, customer service, and copilot for salespeople. So you're gonna see more copilots for job-specific things because they're going to have the kinds of, a copilot with various plugins to data sources that are relevant for their business, that are also going to be customizable toward data sources they tend to use. So you're going to see a lot more AI for specific job roles, job types, et cetera, because ultimately, when it comes to AI at work, people care about their work. I do not care what the legal team is doing. I care about software development. Likewise, legal does not care what software development is doing. They want tools for legal people. So from us, you're going to see more tools like that. And I think from the industry as well. We're seeing a lot more language models and AI models tailored towards specific industries. And as more companies start to train their models or outsource the training of models, we are going to see more and more of that.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers, and this reminds me a little bit when I started long ago being aware of Pokemon. Oh. 150, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, how many? I don't know. It's like
all of them.
co-pilots.
Got to catch them all.
Yeah. So, Dona, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming and sharing all these mind-blowing details and information about what is coming or what has arrived already.
Here.
And I look forward to hearing more about what are your abouts. And thank you again very much for coming.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. All right, everybody. So this one was Dona Sarkar.
Yes.
Yes.
You got it.
And stay tuned because much more is coming. Viene mucho más. We're going to have much more fun, knowledge, I guess more AI. Yeah, it's everywhere. With this Testing Uruguay Conference 2024, la 10ª edición, el aniversario, una década. So, con esto, ahorita paramos un momento. We were going to stop for a little bit and get a pause, but stay tuned because more is coming. This show is just barely starting. So, thank you, Dona.
Thank you. Gracias. Buen día.
Adiós.
Adiós.